Hi, boys and girls. Miss Cross is here for a science read aloud with you today. I hope you've enjoyed your science learning this week about forces and those that are balanced and those that are unbalanced. Today we're going to read a book called Shmequal. And I want to flip over and just read the summary really quickly that's on the back of the book. And I see a little mouse here, and I see a seesaw, which makes me think of the other book we read this week just a little bit. And it says, what does it mean to be equal? Mouse and her friends want to play tug of war, but they can't figure out how to make equal teams. Plant eaters against meat eaters? Fur against no fur? Nothing works until Mouse takes things into her own paws and levels the playing field. I'm just noticing that is kind of at a funny angle, so maybe that's a little bit better. Now if I look back at the front cover, I notice a bear, and this maybe is the seesaw, and here's a mouse, and here's some bees. All right, let's see what's going to happen in Shmequal. And think as I read this about how it relates to our science learning for this week. A little brown mouse sat under a leaf watching a school picnic. The children finished eating and began to play. Some played tag. Some chose teams for a game. The two sides have to be equal, one of them shouted. The children pulled on the ends of a rope. One team was pulled over a line. The other team cheered. Hooray, we won, we won. Then one of the teachers called to the children. They all got into a big yellow bus that drove off down the road. All was quiet. That looked like fun. Hey, Bear, called Mouse. Come out and play. Bear walked out from the trees. What do you want to play? It's a game, squeaked Mouse. You take one end of the rope, and I take the other. We both pull to see who wins. Bear gave the rope a mighty yank. Mouse flew across the field. She landed on the ground with a thump. Hey, said Bear, where did you go? No fair, squealed Mouse. She picked herself up. I forgot that teams have to be equal. Equal, Shmequal, said Bear. Suddenly, sharp claws grabbed Mouse. It was Bobcat. Gotcha, he snarled. Help, squealed Mouse. Bear stood up on his hind legs and growled. Let Mouse go right now. Bobcat whimpered. I just want to join the game. See, Wolf's right here. He wants to play too. Wolf stepped out into the open. Mouse brushed off her fur. She said in her bravest voice, Of course you guys can play. Everyone can play as long as the teams are equal. Equal, Shmequal, said Bear. He reached into one of the trash cans and pulled out a half-eaten sandwich. Rabbit hopped into the field. Can we play too? Rabbit asked. Box Turtle plodded close behind. What does equal mean, anyway? He asked. Equal means fair, explained Mouse. We should divide into two equal teams somehow. Equal, Shmequal, Bear mumbled with a mouthful of chocolate cake. Let's try meat eaters against plant eaters, said Rabbit. That would be fair. What about Turtle and me, asked Mouse. We eat anything small enough. Well, said Rabbit, what are your favorite foods? Mouse replied, I like blackberries best. I eat mostly bugs, said Turtle, but my favorite food is dandelions. If you like plants best, you belong on my team, said Rabbit. So it's animals that eat only meat against the rest of us. Bobcat laughed. You think this is equal? Ha ha ha. With just one hard pull, he and Wolf yanked Mouse, Rabbit, and Turtle across the line. They landed in a heap. That wasn't equal, Turtle complained, peeking from his shell. Bobcat said, everyone with fur go to one side. Everyone without fur go to the other. But that left only Turtle on a team. That couldn't be equal. Does anyone know what halves are? Rabbit asked. I've heard the farmer talking about halves. Halves are what you get when you make two groups with the same number, Mouse said. We can't make halves because there are 5 of us. Just then, Mouse saw hooves behind a bush. Hey, she said, maybe Deer will want to play. Then we can make halves. Deer slowly stepped out of the woods. It looks like fun, she said, but I want to keep an eye on Wolf and Bobcat. I'll pull from behind them. The animals lined up, 3 on one side and 3 on the other. They pulled, but once again, Mouse, Rabbit, and Turtle were easily dragged over the line. No fair, complained Rabbit. They're all big, and we're all small, so it isn't equal after all. You're right, said Mouse. The numbers are equal, but that doesn't make the teams equal. Equal Shmequal, Bear exclaimed, finishing off a piece of pizza. The animals scowled at each other. Everyone began talking at the same time. It's not fair, you're so much bigger. You're just mad because you lost. You don't care if the teams are equal as long as you win. Mouse sat by herself and tried to think of a new idea. She tapped a tiny foot and twirled a wiry whisker. Listen, said Mouse. Listen up, she said louder. I have an idea. The animals stopped fighting. Well, asked Bobcat, what's your great idea? I thought that instead of equal numbers, she explained, our teams could have equal weights. We could use the seesaw to figure it out. Oh, interesting. We've talked about weights and seesaws this week. Look, said Mouse. When what's on the other side of the seesaw is equal to what's on the when what's on one side of the seesaw is equal to what's on the other side, the seesaw balances. You can tell because it's straight across. Okay, said Turtle, let me go first since I can't jump. He walked onto the end of the seesaw, touching the ground. I'll get on the other side, Wolf said. Wolf jumped to the center of the seesaw and made his way to the end. Turtle was lifted high into the air. He looked down the long way to the ground and tried not to be scared. Deer got up on Turtle's side. Their side sank down and Wolf rose up into the air. I'm next, shouted Bobcat. He got onto Wolf's side, but Wolf and Bobcat together were still up in the air. With a mighty hop, Rabbit landed in front of Bobcat. Now the seesaw was almost balanced. Come on, shouted Rabbit. You're the last one, Mouse. Mouse scampered up next to Deer. The seesaw teetered back and forth before resting perfectly straight across. The teams were balanced. We did it! We're equal, Mouse squeaked. Then Bear looked up from his crumbs and ran over, roaring, Wait for me! He jumped on and down went his side of the seesaw with a bump. Look, his legs are up here in the air. And here's some other people in the air. Deer, Mouse, and Turtle went flying into the air. Oops, said Bear. I guess it's not equal anymore. We can get this right, said Mouse cheerfully. Let's try again. Bear, get on first. Bear sat on one end with the other end high in the air. Bobcat offered to get on the high side first. If I fall, I'll land on my feet. Cats always do. The rest of the animals got on. Each one made Bear's side lift a little. Finally, all the animals were on except Mouse. Come on, shouted Rabbit. We're almost equal. Mouse jumped onto the middle of the seesaw. Bear's side was higher, so she walked toward him. The seesaw was perfectly balanced. They jumped off one by one and picked up the rope. Bear and Mouse were on one side of the line, and all the other animals were on the other. Okay, said Mouse. Now the teams have equal weight. Whichever team pulls the other across this line wins. Bear and Mouse pulled. Turtle, Rabbit, Bobcat, Wolf, and Deer pulled back. I'm bigger than all of you, said Bear. I'll win. Come on, said Rabbit to her teammates. There are more of us. Pull harder. They pulled and tugged, but neither team moved an inch. What if no one can win? Asked Rabbit. Suddenly they heard a loud buzzing overhead. Bees, shouted Bear. There must be honey nearby. He took one paw off the rope to point at the swarm of bees. It seems Bear likes his food. Just then the other team gave a mighty pull and Bear stepped over the line. Hooray, said Rabbit. We won, we won. But the teams were equal, said Deer. How did we win? What really matters is equal effort, said Mouse. When we all pulled our hardest, the effort was equal. That's why no one could win. But when Bear saw the bees, he forgot to pull. The effort wasn't equal anymore. Oh, look at Bear. He looks pretty happy even though he didn't win tug of war. Equal Shmequal, said Bear. I want some honey. Mouse laughed. Time for a honey break, she said. The animals followed the bees to their hive in a tree. There was more than enough honey for everyone, and they shared it equally. All right, the end, friends. I hope you enjoyed this story along with our science this week. We are going to continue learning about force and motion for the next couple of weeks. I hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you Monday. Bye, guys. I realized the book was blurry for like the whole first half of that.
That's Friday?
Yeah. Where'd it go?
What time do I need to dress?
Like an hour. Oh. Do you have your book?
Oh.
Do you have to read for 30 minutes? Perfect. Let's do it.
Oh, why am I
What? Where's screencast? Kaylin was funny when she burped on it.
Can you turn it this way?
I love his little helmet.
Will you go open the door and see if Miss Rebecca's still here?
Why is she still be here?
She went downstairs.
Yeah, hearing me? No.
No, I was trying to record. I recorded a read aloud, and my screencast is now frozen, so I think I have to do it again. What'd you find out? So, see if you can do the ladybug on mine. It won't work, or I can't get it to work. If I put camera, it comes to me. I tried to at home.
She's not IEP. She's 504. I didn't realize. I learned a lot down there, actually, of stuff I probably should have known last year. But I didn't have special ed kids last year, so I'm going to... The perm folders don't have special ed info in them.
Right, they're in a separate.
They're in the separate thing,
which is totally different. Where I used to be, everything like there was a red.
Well, that would
folder
make
in
sense.
The perm.
And then, so Safan in 2017 went through the process for SST. Safan, who's reading at a J. I'm like, oh.
So you don't know just.
Anyways, she's 504. And so I ended up finding Cordova, who was packing up. And she is supposed to give us a copy of 504s at the beginning of the year. But she doesn't have a good system for it, and it's not a good year. And I said, I'm not angry at all.
Like, is she okay? Like, is she?
I think everybody's feeling the same way. Like, we're all just, what is this box, I wonder? I'm just going to let that finish doing whatever it's doing.
It's really annoying. I just did like a 9-minute read aloud.
It might be that. Give it a second. Well, let's just see if...
Click on screencast and see if it comes up.
It's right here.
Yeah.
Recorder is recording. There's 2 of them open. Did you record 2 different at the same time?
Just close it. It's fine. I can read it.
Let me see.